character is what you are. Reputation is merely what others think you are. Try to meet the ball with the middle of your bat. Any human being can be measured with the CAD formula.
Welcome to the show, Real and Real Characters.
Sangeet Samrat Chitravina and Ravikiran, hailed as the Mozart of Indian music by the global media, made his debut at the age of 2 and gave a new meaning to the word prodigy. Ravikiran presented vocal concerts from the age of 5, Chitravina concerts from the age of 11, and was the youngest performer to be given the A-top grade by All India Radio in his early 20s. He has brought new audiences to Indian music and is renowned as perhaps the greatest slide player in the world today for his teasing precision and dazzling effects. Among the most successful gurus in the Indian classical arena, Ravikiran has also mentored a large band of established and emerging performers across the world and pioneered distance education in Indian classical music in the 1990s. Known for his award-winning concept of melharmony, Ravikiran has been a trendsetter in introducing a number of Indian ragas and composers to Western classical orchestras as also jazz and world music groups. With over 800 music and dance compositions to his credit, including operas like Ramayana and Mahabharata, he is among the more prolific composers that India has produced. He made world history by setting to music the entire 1330 Tirukkural verses of the ancient Tamil poet Thiruvalluvar in a matter of just 16 hours. Ravikiran's music has been featured in Hollywood as well as in select Indian movies.
Welcome to Real and Real Life Characters. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you, Ravikiran ji. And
My pleasure.
I'm so glad you are able to take time out from Chicago to talk on the show. So please tell me, what is your favorite character in movies and why?
My father was very particular that I only watched select movies in my childhood. He allowed me to go to movies that were fairly aligned to the culture that I was being groomed in, which is the classical arts, Carnatic music, which really includes mythology, epics, and details of great temples and this kind of things. So one of the movies that I watched in my childhood, which my father really approved of and took me himself, was Karnan.
Karnan is a 1964 Indian Tamil language Hindu mythological film based on the story of Karna. Karna is a powerful character from the Hindu epic Mahabharata who is known to be an epitome of generosity. The film was officially launched in 1963 at Vijaya Studios in Chennai. B.R. Pantulu directed and produced the film. He had collected most of his information about the epic from scholars like Kripananda Variyar and Anantarama Dikshitar. Shakti T.K. Krishnaswamy wrote the dialogues and A.S. Nagarajan wrote the screenplay. The film's original soundtrack was composed by the musical duo Vishwanathan Ramamurthy, while the lyrics were written by the great poet Kannadasan. Sivaji Ganesan was cast in the title role. Telugu actor N.T. Ramarao played the Lord Krishna. R. Muthuraman was Arjuna and S.A. Ashokan was Karna's friend Duryodhana. Actress Devika played Karna's wife. Savitri played Duryodhana's wife, and the role of Karna's mother, Kunti, was portrayed by M.V. Rajamma. Karnan was filmed with an estimated budget of 4 million or 40 lakh rupees. The high cost of the film was attributed to the transportation costs incurred to move chariots from Chennai to Kurukshetra, where the war sequences were filmed. With permission from the government, cavalry and infantry from the Indian Army were brought to the locations at Kurukshetra, and the first rows of the charging armies on horses and elephants had soldiers from the Indian Army. The battle scenes were shot with troops of the 61 Cavalry Regiment using 80 elephants, 400 horses, and 3 cameras. Scenes for Karnan were also shot in palaces at Jaipur and at the Bangalore Palace in the cantonment area, making it the first film to be shot there. After the release of Karnan, all the chariots made for the war sequences in Kurukshetra were donated to the Brihadishwara temple at Tanjavur. Karnan ran for over 100 days in theatres and later won the Certificate of Merit for the third best feature film at the 11th National Film Awards. The film was also partly responsible for a resurgence in Hindu Purana films in the industry.
Probably I was like 5 or 6 at that time, but it had a deep impact. And of course, I have read Mahabharata by Vyasa and by other authors. And the character has continued to fascinate me. I think it's also more due to the fact that my grandmother, my father's mother, and my mother's mother, both of them used to discuss a lot of this mythological characters and the kind of conflicts that they had. Conflicts of Karna were deeply discussed in my family, plus the way in which the movie was taken itself.
What is it about the movie which fascinated you? And what is it about the character of Karna which actually fascinated you?
One of the things that I used to really appreciate in some of the movies of that era was the absolute diligence of the directors and the producers to be as authentic as possible in their portrayal of the events, even if it's a mythological story. So that the way in which Karna was actually taken was very close to say what Vyasa has written in Mahabharata. So the amount of due diligence, the kind of research and the kind of authentic information, the kind of characters around Karna, be it Duryodhana or Arjuna or Bhishma or Drona and other people, or even Krishna in that movie. So it was like absolutely the cast of characters and the settings, the costumes. Everything was like very, very close to what one would really imagine when one is reading the book. The value of the production was in its adherence to authenticity, and at the same time, without sacrificing the attraction of a popular genre like films. So it's a movie that was absolutely colorful for any age group and for any person from any background. Because Karna himself is a very, very interesting, compelling character in this epic. Mahabharata has few rivals when it comes to the amount of characters, the amount of mini stories within that, and the morals within that, and the kind of conflicts that the characters had, and the kind of decisions that they had to take. And the movie captured that.
So do talk a little about these conflicts that Karna goes through, and what are the moral decisions that he has to, take.
See, Karna was a victim of nothing but perception. He was perceived to be born in a particular community at a time when caste sentiments were pretty much on the high. And it's something to be noted that these caste sentiments were not only the domain of any one particular caste. Really speaking, all the castes were exploiting castes lower than them. And that is something that we can clearly see with a lot of evidence in movies like Karna or in so many other even historical situations. Karna was really born not out of his own choice to his mother before the wedding, before her marriage, but by her experiment at an age where she could be excused for experimenting with that kind of a fascinating boon that she got. So you cannot really blame anybody for what happened. That's what makes it fascinating. And for Karna, on merit, he was absolutely superior to Arjuna, and even in that childhood competition that they all had, he was ridiculed because of caste when he wanted a one-on-one duel with Arjuna to seal his supremacy, which was not any fault of his. Duryodhana at that time comes to his rescue because Duryodhana strategically sees the advice from Shakuni that Karna could be the best possible weapon in his armory if he were to take on the Pandavas at a future date. So again, Duryodhana is being played by Shakuni, who has his own agenda to actually befall the entire Kuru dynasty. Once that happened, Karna had this loyalty as his chief virtue. So he had to stay loyal to Duryodhana at all costs. Even knowingly, if Duryodhana was wrong, Karna had two choices, either to completely sell him out and go away seeking what was virtue at that time, or he had to stand by him. So Karna then chose to stay with Duryodhana no matter what, and then he sometimes was assisting Duryodhana in some of these things, which of course put him in the side of evil completely in this situation. Even though in person he was fantastic. So even to the extent that he knew that it was Arjuna's father Devendra who came disguised as a Brahmin to ask for his Kavacha and Kundala, which is his birth thing, and that was his real armor for lifelong protection. He still gave it to him unflinchingly. Those are the times when any normal person would have a conflict, but Karna chose not to have a conflict.
Right.
So the times when Karna did not have a conflict is also extremely a testimony to the kind of character that he was. And the movie really portrays all this brilliantly, even if it had dramatically, which is a bit characteristic of the great Shivaji sir, of course.
So what is the aspect of character which you feel has influenced you from Karna? What have you taken away from that?
No, I think, see, the essential decency of a human being has nothing to do with what they do in life. So many people do a lot of inexplicable things. They may do things that may seem contrary to popular uh, views or opinions. But the hardcore decisions are taken by people with the toughness who do not care about the opinion of anybody else. That is real character. Character is a strength one has in one's convictions, which have been formed after deep introspection of what one has studied and understood as values.
Right.
It has nothing to do with what somebody else thinks of you. In fact, I read in a very different context that character is what you are. Reputation is merely what others think you are.
Well said.
Yes.
So, when you come into your own life, have you been able to see these kind of situations where you have drawn from the strength of Karna to be able to, do what you had to do in those situations?
I don't kid myself to be as great as Karna or Rama or Lakshmana or anybody here. But at the same time, there are hardcore decisions that people have to take at times, which we do. As a matter of course, we end up doing it sometimes. And sometimes it could be as simple as critiquing even a very popular student of yours, because you are not there for winning popularity contests. You are there to correct them and put them on track when it's called for. So those kind of things are very small level ones. And then there are other times when you take bigger professional decisions or personal decisions in your life. You take them irrespective of what public perceptions could be in the short term or medium term or probably even in the long term. So you do it as long as you think that you are doing it with the best interests of yourself as well as everybody around. At the end of the day, if you are able to look into a mirror and are able to meet your eyes unflinchingly in a mirror, then you are fairly okay.
That is really great. So, when you look into real life characters, can you tell me who has influenced you or who has inspired you to become who you are?
I have been influenced by a horde of great people, including my own guru and father Chitravina sir, who is like one of the greatest musicians I've ever come across. And my other guru, Sangeeta Kalanidhi T. Brinda, who was another musician, almost in the mold of Karna, actually, I'll tell you. She had the strength of character to make sure that she stuck to her values, whatever she considered as values. She did not compromise a millimeter from that.
What was she not compromising on?
A lot of the musicians have been principled enough to not chase after money. I've heard of musicians who would not accept a second concert until all their income from the previous concert was completely finished. But even among those people, a person may, as an artist who is presenting things, be a little bit enamored of appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
But Brinda was one of those who didn't even care about appreciation. She would only sing what she thought was the pristine, pure music that came from the great Veena Dhanammal tradition. Brinda's quality was like light years ahead of a lot of her peers, which is why all the great musicians, right from, say, Samagudi Srinivasayar or M.S. Subbulakshmi or Ramnath Krishnan, and all used to go to Brinda to learn from her. And so she was one of those musicians who actually went on record saying that, do not ever blame the public for the kind of compromised music that you present. And the best way to serve the public is to give off what you know as the best, nothing short of it. Right. Do not ever try to be justifying this, saying that you have to reach out to the people. Then you are really talking down to them, kind of thing. By the time I went to her, I was like already this so-called quote-unquote superstar playing all over the world, had got so many awards, blah, 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 everything. But not one of those statistics mattered to Brinda. For her, only one equation. Could I repeat what she sang? Anything that anybody went to learn from her, even if it is somebody like, say, Samagudi Srinivasayar, who was like senior to her by age, her condition would be that he should not alter a single thing that she taught. And the greatness of Samagudi sir was that he acceded to those musical demands that she placed on him. In all the 10 years that I have interacted with Brindama, the combined conversation that she would have had with me would actually amount to about 1 hour. That is how she was the very soul of brevity. She could be extremely witty. She was one of the sharpest people I've ever known, one of the sharpest minds, and Absolutely high on conviction and quality.
You said Brindama is closest to your idea to Karna.
The kind of voice that she had was like platinum. She could have sung anything and easily got some 20 rounds of applause in those days from those kind of people and become this rock star kind of artist. But she never chose to. She still only stuck to the highest quality of music. Whether those 20,000 people or at that time understood the music or not, it's like Einstein lecture versus a popular politician speech.
There is no comparison.
Exactly. And she didn't worry whether she made money, she didn't worry whether she made name, whether she didn't worry about what the media had to say or anything. But at the same time, here is the beautiful thing for me. She lived in one of the best houses in one of the best localities in Kalakshetra colony. So she lived in all comfort. So in Sanskrit, they say, no, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Dharma protects protector. So similarly, the dharma that she was following, the Sangeeta dharma, that protected her and kept her in all comfort till her very last. If you protect values, values will protect you. So in the non-music world, the persons who have inspired me a lot, the cricketer Don Bradman.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. I was like big time influenced by him ever since I got into cricket, which was around my 6th standard or something. Because he was the person who showed me that it is not enough to be just better than everybody else. If you want to be better, make it a business to be twice as good as everybody else.
So you played a lot of cricket?
I played a lot of cricket and I had a lot of passion, but of course my talent never matched my passion. The moral from Don Bradman, the kind of consistency, the amazing way in which he approached the game and the perfect spirit with which he played. He was like a complete teetotaler, non-smoker, and he actually advocated that those things are very essential to keep your mind and body absolutely alert if you want to play at the highest level in the proper way. So everything that he did, it was not just moralistic statements, but it was also a sheer amount of professionalism and the focus that he had. And so Bradman actually showed that if you are only strong in your basics, you can be more flamboyant than the most flamboyant people who actually walk the planet.
What do you mean by basics?
Try to meet the ball with the middle of your bat.
Okay.
It is the basic when you are a batsman. Have that amount of control.
Right.
I actually have what is known as the CID formula.
What is that?
It's called the content intent delivery formula. Any human being can be measured with the CID formula. Your content has to be very strong and your delivery has to be perfect. And more than all that, you should have a clear intent of knowing what you're going to do, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. That is one part of the intent. The second part of the intent is the integrity to the intent. Never actually try to short sell the people. Do not try to compromise. Do not take them for granted. Don't try to sell something that is not what it is.
So how have you been able to translate this into your Chitravina, into your performances?
You just try to be the best that you can be. And you try to touch the horizon in whatever you do once in a while at least, because you can't be hanging on to the horizon all the time. 90% of life is solidity with 10% of brilliance. You don't have to be brilliant all the time because that's going to get boring and people will soon start taking it for granted. And there's no meaning to brilliance without actual passion in it. Carnatic music especially is a fantastic art form that has taught me to be not merely a singer of a few notes or a few rhythms or player of some songs. It has taught highest values of spiritualism, philosophy, mythology, epics, history also in some extent. And if you look at the Swami Dikshita, even some geography, the pilgrimage centers, Uthagad Venkatagavi kind of art, the composers who have given a bunch of everything. They were such encyclopedias. Even romance in the way of Chitravina Padams or Javalis and others. Great compositions from Subramanya Bharati and others who are not essentially musicians but still great in their output. So it's one of those most complete systems in the whole world. I still look at the mirror, I just see only a student.
I've seen you only as a Carnatic musician, but here you have such wide command over English literature, over cricket and so many other aspects. Great. I think you have really shared some very valuable pearls of wisdom, and I have to thank you on that note, and I'm so glad and honored that you've been part of the show.
It's absolutely my pleasure to be a part of this wonderful initiative by you. I wish you more and more success and a lot more energy to do fantastic work like this.
That was the amazing Chitravina Ravikiran on real and real characters. Now let's move on to this episode's movie quiz. It's a Tamil film based on the friendship between Karna and Duryodhana as seen in the Mahabharata, but set in a modern context. Who plays the role parallel to Karna? What is the name of this character in the movie? What is the name of the film and who is its director? Please send your answers to the WhatsApp or email address given here, and the person who sends the correct answers first will be invited as a guest on our show, Real and Real Characters. If you like this show, please click on the like icon and subscribe to the show.